Good afternoon, sir. Uh, I see that the human mind, all of us, are always looking for security, some sense of security in a job, in relationships, in marriage, or maybe in company. And we think once we get that security, we'll then lead a peaceful life. What do you think? Is this chase for security correct? Is it ideal? Or is it something like Krishnamurti says that psychologically there is no security ever possible? Thank you.
See, obviously there is no point in deliberately keeping oneself insecure. As human beings, we all definitely require a certain degree of assurance to just function properly, rather sanely. If you know that the roof on your head is not reliable, not stable, it would be very difficult to attend to this conversation. No? We require that security. So that is all right to seek security in the physical sense, in the sense of knowing that the next meal is not really in doubt, that if you go to office tomorrow, it's not very probable that you would find yourself already fired, or that if you return to home in the evening, you aren't going to find your house disappeared and your relatives all absent. So that is all right. The thing is to know where the threshold is, where to draw the line. Absolute security is not possible in this relative dualistic world. In this world, only a certain extent, a certain degree of security can be had. And it is perfectly justified to seek that from the world which the world can afford you. The world obviously can afford you some degree of security, and you must arrange to have that much from the world, right? The trouble begins when we start seeking the absolute from the relative. The world exists in relatives. The trouble begins when we start seeking deep inner psychological contentment from attainment. If I can have that, if I can arrange this, if I can manipulate that, if I can somehow connect this to that, then I'll have that which makes life really meaningful. No, that is not going to happen. That is not going to happen. And it is the chase for that that is keeping us always on the tenterhooks. Because you see, what happens is, you attain something from the world and you definitely do get a bit of satisfaction. We can't deny that, right? Spirituality apart, pure material attainment does get you a certain degree of satisfaction. We all experience that every day, don't we? And when we attain more in the material direction, satisfaction usually does seem to increase. Now at this point, we tend to make a mistake. What is that mistake? We extrapolate the curve. Whereas the curve really proceeds by the law of diminishing returns. We say we had 10 units of money, let's say, and that got us 1 unit of satisfaction. We had 20 units of money, that afforded us 2 units of satisfaction. That satisfaction you could read as synonymous with contentment or well-being or whatever is the word that gives you peace. So now we extrapolate the curve. We say this means that 10 units of attainment, 10 more units, will give me proportionally more satisfaction. No, that does not happen. The curve does not remain linear. The curve flattens. The curve attains a plateau. But we fail to see that. We fail to see that beyond a point, even if you keep attaining a lot, your contentment level does not increase, or increases by very little, or in certain cases may even dip. Now that is where self-observation, self-knowledge comes in. Once the curve has flattened, then to increase your contentment level, it is not material that you need, it is self-knowledge that would help. Are you getting it? More security then is not attainable through more accumulation or prosperity or knowledge or networking or whatever. That's not going to happen. Are you getting it? What that tells us is that we indeed do need to depend on material welfare. Where? At the initial level. At the initial level, you do require certain security from all directions: economic, psychological, political, social, medical, educational. And that is definitely needed. But you cannot keep thinking that just by doing better on the same fronts, economic, social, political, etc., you'll be able to have more contentment. That won't happen. Try to visualize the shape of the curve. It goes this way. Initial in the linear in the early stages, and almost horizontal later on. The tragedy is, what appears horizontal may actually start to even dip after a while, which means that more accumulation may actually lead to lesser contentment. I'm speaking to a lot of young people here, and you'd be setting out into life, and you will have crucial decisions to make, and the trade-off between the tangible and the intangible is always there. Where to draw the line is always a difficult question to answer. You have to keep asking yourself, have I reached a point where diminishing returns have kicked in? You understand diminishing returns? Let's say there is zero brightness in this room. All the lights are switched off. I'll not be able to look at you at all, right? Then someone comes and lights a lantern, that good old poor lantern. I'll be able to look at you a little. Then a few of these bulbs are switched on. I'll be able to get a fairly clear view of your face. And then we have these bigger lights, and now I'm able to see almost everything that's there to see. What if we now bring in huge searchlights? Will that add to the clarity of the vision? Will that? Okay, let's put those lights on your side, towards me. We have put those lights there. One big one this side, one this side. And they are throwing so much brightness on my face. Are you able to have a clearer view of my face now? Probably yes, probably no. Let's extend the example further. Now instead of one of those mega lights, we have 5 of them on this side and 5 on this side. Do you see what would happen now? What would happen? Instead of seeing me more clearly, you might find that the lights are in fact impeding the vision. This is called diminishing returns. This applies to everything that is material. To an extent, it helps your cause. After that, it stops helping. And if you do not know the point at which this inflection occurs, you will keep accumulating more and more light, thinking that more light equals more vision. It doesn't. So you must know very clearly where to stop in pursuit of the tangible, the material. Go up to that point, earn up to that point, know up to that point. But beyond that, if you want to accumulate more or achieve more, then you are just wasting your time. Because more from that point onwards does not translate into more clarity or more contentment or more welfare at all. Like food. You're hungry, right? First 2 morsels, they are like ambrosia. Oh my God. What if you keep eating and eating? What happens to your satisfaction? Does it keep increasing linearly? What happens beyond a point? Not only does it drop, you might be forced to actually vomit. Mankind is actually standing at a point where it is vomiting due to overconsumption. Those who have known have told us that you must eat only to the point you feel 70 or 80% full and then stop. Right? That's the threshold I am talking of. You must know that. Beyond this point, accumulating or consuming or whatever is possible in the worldly sense makes no sense. Thus far have I come, thus far have I known or earned or achieved, and beyond that if I do more, it is just foolish. Am I being clear? Too slow, too fast, too abstract, or too pedestrian? Are we together? Yes. Okay, thank you.